Hi. So, a little bit of a change of scenery here. And interestingly enough, the microphone now works. I didn't do anything differently. So, um, one thing I want to see if I can capture this on the microphone is Luke. My cat is sitting right next to me. And he's purring. Oh, he stopped purring when I put the microphone in front of his face. so, it's a little bonus, extra bonus. Um, so, so for this reading, we're going to continue in the techniques and exercises for the third hub in chapter 6. We're on page, 148. And it's funny, I was thinking just as I was like logging in and getting ready to come on here that one of the things I think about, like sometimes if you're following along, if you're reading the book, even if you're following along on these, it's a it's a really tremendous time commitment. And the book itself is a time commitment. And to be fair, I'm definitely working on things that are related to making this practice like a lot more accessible for people. If you've taken Pranayama for Beginners, you've seen some of that, which is what are some tools that I can use right now that will really create meaningful shifts as they have for now, a good number of folks. And but I'd been thinking like, okay, like do I edit these? Like how to, even like tidy these up a bit, which might happen, I don't know, but right now, I've thought about, folks who have even, where I'm interested in what people have to say about what I'm doing. And regardless, I'd like of whatever it is, whether it's whatever it is. But I will say that I'm interested in what people have to say, but it's more of I'm interested, but the people I really am taking to heart in terms of incorporating into this process are people that intend to actually watch the videos, do the practice. And it's kind of an interesting thing because there are people who like watch a video or whatever, consume a little bit and then give me their feedback, and which is really fine. But one of the things in terms of my discernment and my discovery process of wanting feedback is I'm also interested in the difference between feedback of folks who really have are just telling me kind of what they think I should be doing. Um, and I will also say that this is not this isn't easy. And the amount of time commitment, and even to a certain extent, the titration that this content is being delivered in is really it is actually part of the construction of it, because if it came too quickly, it's incredibly disruptive. Like the actual pacing of this being slowed down, and that it's like that it will take a long time, is like if you were to experience the change that's possible rapidly, that in and of itself would be like a trauma. this slow and gentleness of this, like, to get this into a process where it's, like, the disruptions and the expansion and the learning and the, like, the cognitive, the emotional development, the, like, the working with reflexes, that it's happening slowly. Because this isn't like a self-help as far as it being something that, honestly, that in a conventional sense of like an airport port book that you'd wanna buy. I mean, people want, or and even I think what's available here is so beyond what folks even know what to want. I know it is for me. I know that when I entered into my own process, even 20 plus years ago, but specifically when I hit the point, about 5 years ago, of, like, really putting this together, what I was solving for, almost like an equation with, kind of like X and these variables, I didn't even know, and I didn't think the right variables. Like, I didn't even know what was possible. And quite frankly, if it had been pitched to me, if it had been like, "Here's what's available," and because it kind of has, like, I've had people use the words, but the direct experience of what comes through here I think part of, like, if I'll just talk about my own experience, part of my own experience with this was that, like, I didn't know what to really want, and what I thought I needed, like, the what I was wanting was actually an adaptation. It was like an aspect of, like, kind of, an inflated third hub. So, okay. Yeah, it's laborious, it's slow, it's hard, it takes a long time. It's like, great. Oh my god, my cat. I think he's like, "I'm out." I wonder if Luke is like, "Say no more. You've told me everything I need to know. He's gonna go rummage around, try to find a copy of The Secret somewhere." He's like, "Screw this." No, he's in. He's in. He's sticking with it. He just had to give it a little bit of thought. So we're good. He's willing to continue. So I'm gonna read a little bit. The two parts that I've marked are power and posture and the power trio. So let's get into it. Um, so the abdomen doesn't have, so this is power and posture. The abdomen doesn't have bone structure for support or protection, and so relies entirely on the strength and musculature of posture. So this paradoxically makes the physical location of our power the most vulnerable part of our body. Power posture signals to others our confidence and conveys presence. When you embody the lighthouse of personal power by uncrimping your midsection, extending your torso, and expanding outward in all directions, you also send a signal to yourself. The most important one on it, truthfully. So Annie Lamott writes in Bird by Bird some instructions on writing in life. Lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. Hmm. That is really. Lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. Whew. That really, I feel like that is like you could just content, like, that has, just in reading that, it's like, the thing is, like, so much of this with Parinama is about living from the inside out. And even when it comes to yeah, I'll finish this in a second because it's unrelated. You know, so even the thing is, and this is something where, like, if we're so I went to a concert last night. It was like we're in like general admission in like the floor with all the kids, like, and the kids were like really young. They're like in their early 20s, and like I'm a minute or two older than that. And definitely like, definitely the oldest person in that, like, area, and, like, kinda and, like, the uncoolest because I was just, like, wearing, like, a white T-shirt, like, I wasn't dressed up, I mean, it was kinda like, uncool squared. But, the thing is that I think about, like, living from the outside in is kind of becoming very self-conscious, and it's like these other eyes can look at me and affect me. And then if they affect me, I'm defending myself. So it's even, and even that, they look at, like, so say some kid is like, what's grandma doing down here? It's like, or whatever. But that's actually good. It's like someone looking and then it's kind of this thing, like, talk about adaptations is like filling in a narrative around that. And then having this sense of like defensiveness, and even just like becoming, and then it's sort of, accelerates um the sense of being self-conscious. So rather than that, it's to kind of like tune in to like what like the sensation within my body and just be like, what does it feel like to stand here? What's it feel like to be here? And just tune in. And even, it's like even if it's like make some adjustments, it's like ground the feet a little bit more, bend the knees a little bit more, loosen up the bum, maybe move around a little bit in the hips, rise up, feel like just kind of experimenting and like feeling, and that being the point of origin for the experience is like, what does it feel like inside me to be in this moment versus how are people reacting to me? And then that's where that's the starting point, and then how I'm feeling is kind of bounces off of that. And even in that, it's kind of like even when, so when it's coming from there, for me, it's like even my relationship with how other people are responding to me becomes like I'm not defending myself because it's like I know how like this is solid in here. So it's like how people are reacting to me is just interesting. And also undefended, most people's reactions are not um if you're starting from a like the sense of self, it's like the need to defend is like really, at least certainly in my experience, is like diminished to eliminated. So it's like someone can look at me and I can actually just like look at them and see them, and even just like be able to be really clear about them, like, and that however they're reacting to me is really like probably them doing that same thing, which is starting from the or doing that thing of like starting from the outside and sort of projecting something and then reacting to that instead of being like, I'm going to start from in here. And I'll say, like, last night when I was when I was standing there, it's like there are things that hurt, things that like didn't feel good, and I was like, ugh, like my like traps were really tight. Um, but yeah, I was like tuning into that and being like, oh, this is what's happening. And it also creates a certain kind of presence, I think, that people respond to. So I'm gonna keep reading. So oh, and the Annie Lamott book, Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing in Life. I read that book at the very beginning of my writing process, which, by the way, I'm not even gonna digress into that. Like, how hard it is to write a book because nobody actually teaches you how to write a book. And there's like this is like, so Annie Lamott, this book, Bird by Bird, is actually like a great book about life. It's like getting a phenomenal mentor to give you really beautiful guidance about approaching life. As this quote, the lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining, as an example of this. This book, highly recommend this. It's really enjoyable and delightful to read. If you're looking for something that kind of like cheer you up, it's uplifting, that is really funny and like beautiful and wise, this is one of those books. And it's little, it's like kind of a little book. Highly recommend it. It's very like, yeah, I should make like a list of books like that. They really matter. Can really use them. So we uncrimp the hose of our torso to unblock and unlock energy. Because your muscles may need to stretch and strengthen, don't wait until you need to walk tall for an important event or meeting. Start strengthening your posture now. And that's something that is like, let's see if this is in here. I have my fantastic habit of saying stuff and then it's in the next thing I read. But one of the things about this quality of like inhabiting this this like sense of like pushing down and like the rising up, and we're going to talk a little bit in the power trio about this, is that this is actually like, it's like a fitness, and not just because it's muscular fitness, it's actually being able to like occupy the physical presence of your power. Is, if you're not accustomed to it, it can be it can be kind of like hard, because like it can create a challenge because people react to you differently. So even like the exercise of, so one of the things I was doing when I was developing this is I would actually walk down the street and I would like really bring this consciousness and this physiology in, and I'd walk down the street and I'd be like, and I would like, and I would notice that the reactions, people like would clock me a lot more readily, and like that there's like a sense like, and so, and it's my, there might be a thing like, oh, isn't that great? It's like, that's a thing to learn, to have the capacity to hold that. So it is like the practicing of that, and it is a fitness. It is a fitness to sit through like a 1 hour meeting or whatever you have and be able to like maintain that. It is like, you do also have to have like there's a physiological like fitness to it. So so I'm going to read the power trio. So this practice has 3 steps for preparing your body and stoking its power. So first, uncrimp your midsection. Second, discharge muscular tension. And third, stoke your power. You'll need a surface to lie down on, a yoga block or rolled bath towel, and a yoga strap with D-rings or scarf. Oh God, no. I'm just realizing this is such a potent practice. Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. I'm gonna do what I can here for this. This is really like, this is great. So I'm getting like hot for whatever. I'm getting like heated here. I'm sorry. Like, oh my God. Okay. So okay, I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna talk to it. So uncrimp your midsection. So I'm not gonna lie down first. I'm gonna talk through it. At some point I do want to do some forms of videos where I'm demonstrating this. But I'm gonna talk to it, and then I'm gonna see where we can go with this. But so lie on your back with your feet on the ground and knees up towards the ceiling. Place the heels of your hands in the creases of your hips and gently push into your thighs in the direction of your feet. Drop your shoulders and keep the sensation pleasant. As you push, feel the extension of your torso and breathe naturally. Okay. So, wait, maybe I can do it this way. Let's do like some creative. So, let's see if this works. I'm really excited to show you this drawing skill. I don't know if that gets the job done. So this is like the floor. This is your bum, your knee, your foot, and your hands in the crease of your hips. So this might be a new genre for whatever. It's like so and when you're pushing in, like, and it helps to be on the floor because your back is fully supported. Because one of the things too is in exploring some of this stuff, there can be like some tweakiness. Like, so especially if there's like kind of like muscular holdings, that you want to be able to like actually be like not have like a muscular holding open and then have to like holds like weight. And so just feel that like niceness of that. So it's like, and like, so you're just like extending your torso by pushing in. Oh, that's actually, you could do it right here sitting. I don't know if you're sitting. I don't know if you're sitting, but like I just did it. It was like nice. I got a little like neat, 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 crackety crack. So I guess this is something you could do in a chair as well. But that's actually just more for an acute feeling. This is like when you're doing it on the floor, it's for an actual extension where you're kind of and you're breathing into a little bit. So there's that. This is a really good sequence. I will say this is like this is one that is like I've had so much phenomenal direct experience with that I like really rely on this. I'm surprised it made it in too, because I kept out a lot of stuff that had this quality. I wanted the stuff in the book to be super accessible for anyone, and not really about like actual like like fitness, so to speak. But this is like, yeah, okay, I'll stop saying how great it is. So place a yoga block or a rolled up towel on the ground. I'm going to talk a little bit about what this means, and gently lower yourself to where the block sits comfortably between your shoulder blades under your spine. Oh, I might be able to demonstrate this. Um, Lie over the blocks in a neutral position and allow a passive stretch to occur in your midsection and chest. If there's pain, start with a rolled towel that provides just enough lift and stretch so you can comfortably lie on it without strain or pinching. This is a strong practice inspired by Lowen's bioenergetic stool, so defer to a lesser intensity. So I'm going to just use a book here. So if this were a block, it's going right here. Bloop right here. And you're lying down on it and you're finding a comfortable position where you can get expansion, like basically like kind of like in the heart and the lungs. And get ready for it. So the Andrew Lowen bioenergetic stool, I don't know if I have this book right here. It's so canon for this. This is kind of cool to do this at this desk because I have books here I can show you. So I should warn you before I show you this book, it looks completely unhinged. It's crazy. Okay, so this book there are certain books that are just so canon to the techniques and exercises and are so powerful and potent. And it's so clear why they didn't take off. Right? You see these at the counter at Lululemon? Look, I have to show you, this is, like, really it. This is happening. That's the cover of the book, The Way to Vibrant Health. So, honestly, and I'll tell you that the first version of this I took out of the library, and it had no, it was like they'd hardbound it like they do at the library with some books. Like, just that they do this thing, like, to so that the book will, like, be able to, like, be lent and not be damaged. So it had no cover, it was just kinda like the book, and I was using it so much in terms of developing the TPM techniques and exercises. It's really profound. Like, the work he did, it's, like, another highly recommended book. Um, and then I was like, "Okay." I'd renewed it at the library, like, 8 times, and it was getting to the point where I was like, "Alright, I think there's a point when you need to buy it." It was kinda hard to find because I think it's out of print. So I think if you look on eBay, you might find it. But, yeah, like, really recommended. It's actually, like, high, like, but I got, like, so I ordered it and I opened it and I was like, "Ooh, this is like a little old guy in his underwear is, like, getting." I mean, it looks like they're having fun, and I'm not gonna hold that, but it's not the first thing you notice. It's not the first thing you notice when you see this book is how much fun they're having, but I will point out, I'm gonna give it, like, now that you if you don't look at them, look at how much fun they're having. Look at her face. She's literally, like, her mouth, like, they are having fun. Well, actually, I've never noticed how fun that, like, and it's really joyful. It works. This stuff works. Okay, back to back to back to practice. Yeah, I wanna, like, continue to, there's 2 books we've recommended in this session alone, and they're both, yeah, there's, like, a lot of good books that are referenced in this in this book. So this is a strong okay, I already said the bioenergetic school stool, and one of the things, okay, so Andrew Lowen, if, at some point in your life you own this book, just I'll assume that you're not gonna tell you, is he had this thing called a bioenergetic stool, and he was a therapist, he's a he's a doctor, and one of the things that he used to do to help people process was that he would it was I think it was almost like a sawhorse that he'd have his patients, like, bend over to create the extension here, and so there's a lot, the bioenergetic stool is, like, a whole thing that was part of the little movement that he created. So what we're doing is that we're actually creating, like, a little micro energetic stool, and so if you have a yoga block, fantastic, 'cause it's a little it should be a little spongy and creates a little give, and you find the place where it's not pinching into anything, and you kind of lay on it and you create that opening. Now, the other thing is, if you can use a towel, and this is also helpful for minimizing the intensity. If it's like having something hard would be, like, too much right now. And you can get, if you're familiar with yoga props, it's like a bolster. We can create a bolster, like, by making a Swiss roll out of, like, a bath towel. So it's like fold if you've, like, rectangle with the shortest end at the top and you fold it over once, and then you roll it until you have the Swiss roll. It's kind of like a cigar, like a tube. You can even use that, and this is a lot more gentle, and some of the impact of it does get minimized, but it doesn't, like, if you can find these sensations and if you can find these openings, it doesn't, searching for intensity in this is, like, it's not where we're going, actually. Like, if we get too, so this is, I'm gonna digress for just a minute because this is, like, a key thing, is, like, like, weight training and exercising, there's a tendency to try to hit, like, max weight and do, like, the best that we can. So we're at the outer limits. It's like find your edge, right? In yoga, it's find your edge, which generally means pushing past a place where there's any level of the capacity to explore. because there's you're in a zone of doing something where you're like forcing things, and there's no range in it. Like, you haven't found that full, like the full expansive spectrum in the movement. It's like, and so even if you're doing discharging, and this is like a little bit ahead of where we've been, if you're doing discharging with weight training in a gym, which some folks are doing right now, I do it, is that you're actually going below your max weight to a place where you can actually get the entire range of motion. It's still weight, like it's still like a weight that takes like force, a certain amount of force, but you're actually getting it to where you can have this full controlled range of motion. And then you're finding that place where there's like the tremor, and you're staying in that tremor, and you're letting that move through. So it's like, and like to breathe through it, and you stay in for a few breaths. There's tends to be a natural sense of when you should come out of it, but I'd say 2 or 3 breaths in the tremor. So, okay, back to the our little makeshift bioenergetic stool that we've made. So, okay, so release and relax into the block or towel. And on the exhale, get ready. We're getting weird. On the exhale, make a sound ah to create some vibration in your chest. So and when it's open, you're gonna feel that. So be like ah. Like I can even feel that right now. It's nice. It's nice. And after 3 breaths, lift your shoulders while keeping the bottommost part of the block. Oh, that was the wrong movement, by the way. Don't do that. So after 3 breaths, lift your shoulders while keeping the bottommost part of the block or towel in contact with your back. Staying in contact with the ground while being able to look at your toes. I'm going to draw you. Give you another explanation of this. So find a place where there's a slight muscular tremor and hold it for between 1 to 5 breaths. Release back over the block with another ah. So what this is, so now that we have a block, you ready to see the new picture of what this looks like? This is more challenging for my drawing skills, which are already quite limited. So, wait, did I do that right? So, yeah. Oh yeah, that's kind of gets it. I'm excited to show it to you. I'm not going to show you the arms because I'll explain what happens with arms. So, I'll do it before. It's really sorry. Okay, this is going to be incredibly, phenomenally confusing, but also brilliant. So the first is like when you're lying on the block, your back is over it, and then your head goes down. Somewhere like that. So here's your block. Here's your body over the thing. You're creating the extension here. And your head's going, ah. This is for your legs, they either go straight out, or if your lower back needs a little bit of like protection, that you bend your knees. Same here, lower back. Pay attention to your lower back on the block, and just because there's nothing that we're doing here that's like focusing on the lower back. So now this thing that we're talking about with our energetic stool is that we're lifting up, and so you're keeping the lower part of the block in contact. You're just slightly lifting your shoulders off the block, and you're finding the tremor here. So I'll even draw some little tremors here. Look, see, little tremors. I'm shaking. tremoring the table with my laughter. And in this, like, and this is, and you're finding it. So you're kind of like exploring until you find it and like release it. And one of the things is it'll come, you'll feel it can like it's moving out and with your hands. So sometimes you might use your hands extended out to provide just a little bit of support. But on the sides is fine. You're not using them to like offset the weight. And then after you've done that, we've created a bit of a tremor. This is really, I will say that I'm trying to think of what I want to say about this with my own direct experience to this is this release, like finding that and it moving out. Yeah, so it's like the tremor. So I'm gonna say find the place where there's a slight muscular tremor, hold it for between 1 and to 5 breaths, and then release your back over the block with a "ah," and there's gonna be, or there likely will be, like, a sense of it, something's arisen, and it's kinda like, so like, I'll stomp my feet out to, like, move it out. The zzz. Yeah. Okay, we're ready for the next one? Ready for your next? This is like, these should have been here's the limited edition illustrations. Yeah, there had been consideration of putting illustrations in the book. Just didn't happen. I can't remember why. Might have just been a point of the complexity of just the book in general, limited that. And I'll be interested over time to hear how people feel about what type of supplement helps with these practices. So if like, yeah, like whether it's pictures, because I don't even know if pictures help that much, but maybe they do. Because I don't know. Obviously, I felt like I had to. They then like I think me drawing them showed that there's kind of something that is lacking in the book itself. So okay, so stoke your power. Step 3. Are you ready? So next, sit up, remove the block, and grab your yoga belt with D-rings or a long scarf that you can loop around your midsection, above your rib cage, and below your pectorals. Make a slip knot. I'm going to explain this a little bit more because this is another one where I'm like, God damn it. Yeah, great. The author. Maybe, yeah, he's like a cute little old man in his underwear to come, to do demonstrations on this. So make a slip knot in the yoga belt so the belt can expand without resistance. If you're using a scarf, or like it's kind of like it's not even like with okay, I read that incorrectly. So the belt can expand against resistance. If using a scarf, loosely tie it. The purpose of the belt is to feel your breathing, extending your torso in all directions. Okay. I'm gonna think about like how this is like super boring to listen to. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, so I wish I had a kind of a thing here. I don't think that'll work right now. So the placement of where this goes, and I think one of the points, and I actually am finding this to be like I don't know, it's like a combination of like poorly, like I'm reading this and I can't imagine um being able to follow it. Even though the author is just a very good writer. She did not, yeah, she really, so okay. So what we're looking at is, I do have a yoga belt somewhere. But I think the point of this actually has nothing to do with the yoga belt. So I'm gonna talk to that. Okay, yeah. So the point is with this is it's less about the like whether I'm going to show you the yoga belt because one of the things about the D rings is that they actually you can like tighten it enough to the fact that the belt goes like like is around your entire torso and that if you breathe into it it'll expand a little because you're not trying to constrict your breathing. In fact, like you don't want to be doing that. Like you definitely don't want to be doing that. And even a scarf, if you were like actually I feel like my thinking on this is refined a little bit. Um is that even if you have a scarf, I'm trying to see if I can like pull this off. I have like a purse here. I don't know if I can. This is like kind of absurd. Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's do it. Are you ready for some? Here. So, the point of this is, I will show you, is that like what we're doing here is that we're putting it like this, the belt around us so that we can feel the whole parameter of our body as it relates to our breathing. And so breathing in the third hub as we're doing here is not so much about the breathing that we'll do in the next section, which actually has a lot more to do with like heart lung working together and circulation and also a bunch of other stuff. Here it's actually really about stoking like a bellows of ourselves and feeling the full torso, like that like the whole parameter of our torso, like this like kind of power core that we have, and it not just being like our tummy and like the front, and like when we breathe it's like breathe into your stomach. That's one a really common prompt is that what we're doing here is we're trying to like actually when we're breathing like extend in all directions. So it's the lighthouse, we're bringing the lighthouse into, so it's like, and even if you don't have a belt, we just do this here. So when you breathe in, bring your attention into the expansion in your back. Like kind of if you're wearing a bra, or if you have anything where you can like actually feel the like the kind of like the sensation of like the movement as it's like moving whatever fabric or maybe even your, like whatever shirt, pull your shirt in a little if it's just a shirt. And like you're feeling like the push against that. So it's inhaling like, so I want to just do a couple actually for my own. It's nice. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like feeling that. It's kind of like almost like it's sort of it's like a type of radiance. And I do think one thing I'll say is like with the belt is like if there's a little bit of a push against it, but you don't want to be crunching anything in this, like certainly on your ribs. You know, be nice. So yeah, I think that's probably like if you have the book, just cross out this section and listen to this video again. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But wait, I just this thing. Okay. So once you've completed these 3 exercises, take a walk and focus on extension and expansion in the torso. Boop doop. Notice how it feels and what it takes to maintain it without a strap or belt. Below, I add planks. Oh God, we're gonna have to do this and abdominal work to strengthen the third hub. Yeah, we are. So when standing in line, all right. So when standing in line at a store or even seated at home, you can extend upward along with a 360-degree inhale to expand your torso, focusing on expanding in all directions, followed by a 360-degree contraction on the exhale. Contraction is probably too strong a word there. Just also notice the ergonomics of your desk or whatever you spend a lot of time at during the day. A standing desk or a desk that's adjusted to avoid hunching is essential. Notice if there are places in your life where you spend time hunched over, such as your kitchen and your computer, and make adjustments. And okay, so this is something so at work, you wear power, personal power, and even the projection of it holds particular meaning. If you have like the ergonomics of your working environment are that you're hunched over, this can be so in the past, like some folks that I've worked with, this has been something that's been a really like important evaluation, which is like, okay, well, if you're working really hard and you're hunched over your computer and it's like I actually had someone who was a director level person on my team who was incredibly talented, just like a league of their own. But they were always hunched over their computer, like just completely focused, hunched over. And I remember the executives used to say, he just always looks like he's panicked. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand where they were pulling that from. But they didn't there was kind of a bias towards him as far as seeing him as somebody who should ascend in the company, because there is sort of a thing about it's like, is your confidence, and he's perceived as being somebody who is like who is like neurotic and lack confidence, and the thing was he was working so hard because he wanted to ascend in the company. And this is like some of the stuff that I'm not going to say this is universal. I don't want people to be like blaming themselves and stuff for dysfunctional. The company was very dysfunctional, but there is something to that, about presentation there. So I'm going to read one more very short section. I'm going to make it a wrap, and we'll call it a night because it is now the night. We've been together through the day and night today. So push down, rise up. So when we focus on posture, we often extend our backs upward. This is good to read with this, actually. So when we focus on posture, we often extend our backs upwards to straighten our spines. But if we push into the ground, extending upwards tends to happen naturally. Like it's literally like it's like your counter force. Because it's like, what are you going to push into the ground? This like there's no way it's just falling down. So it's like pushing down like through the soles of your feet, even through your bum. So I'm sitting right now. If you're sitting in a chair or standing, push down using your bum or bottoms of your feet. Look at that. What a lead in. Notice what happens. Your body rises when you connect to the ground. When we connect to the ground, we grow. Good posture sends a very strong signal as we operate in social hierarchies that use appearance to subconsciously clock people to determine the level of respect they command. Keith Johnstone, the exercises early in this chapter are worth revisiting in concert with good posture as it relates to like signaling power. Oh, the next one's really nice. I'm going to do that next time. The boundary and the physical no. I like this. This is good. We're really good. It was really good. Yeah, I'd love it, like, actually kind of a full circle to what I opened this up with, which is that if these practices are things that you wanna do and that you do feel that supplemental videos demonstrating them would support your process, I'm very interested in hearing about that and would like to support that, and we'll go off the page, so to speak. There. Yeah, that's it. It's been I actually like sitting here. So I think this is a weirder place to sit for this, but I think it's kind of cool. So anyway, so thank you. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna wrap up here. Um, I really, really appreciate you and really feel you being along for this process. We're doing this together. And any interactions, watching, likes, comments, they it really means a lot to me to hear about what your experiences are with this practice. Yeah, it really means a lot to me, and yeah, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that. As this continues to grow and, in the world, the YouTube videos have their own little niche in this process that, yeah. But as people are reading the book and practicing this out in the world at greater numbers, it's really special. It's like special. It's really like hearing about this is, like the practical outcomes like folks are experiencing, like getting better at negotiating so they get more money, they get a better car, they get a better like arrangement in their like personal lives at work. Like that, and even things that have to do with people's relationships with themselves. Party number for beginners. A lot of the feedback is really about like directly applicably like how people are showing up within themselves and for themselves. And yeah, it's really great. It means a lot. And as my own maturation in this process and my own like or evolution, I wouldn't even call it maturation, is understanding that all like what I need to do is continue to show up in the ways that are making sense to me, in the ways that I'm getting like feedback and I'm hearing, and I'm also getting the sense of the things I should create for this. That I do that, but this process and your own process is your own. Like I'm this role I play in this is kind of like its own thing, but ultimately your experience, how these topics relate to you, what these practices do, it's really uniquely you. And so, yeah, it's a really nice thing. So, anyway, I wish I had my little bell here. That's the one optimization I'd wish for, but this is a long one, and thank you. And I'll see you next time when we do the physical no, which is actually a favorite. These are really good ones. Just really good. Anyway, I'm gonna make it a wrap. So thanks a lot, and wherever you are and whenever you're watching this, I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.